At Kaizen, we know it's the science that makes the difference. The right solutions happen when you care enough to ask the right questions. And we understand that your performance is directly related to ours. Science knows why it works, care knows why it's important.
Welcome to the Seika Machinery booth here at SMTAi. Delighted to be joined by Michelle Ogihara from Seika. Nice to see you, Michelle.
Trevor. Nice to see you always.
Okay. And to my left, we've got Charlie Fugihara, who will be talking to you about some of the equipment later today. Hi, Charlie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Okay. So let's start with you, Michelle. I mean, you're essentially the face of Seika. Seika is a specialist distributor bringing in top-of-the-range equipment from Japan. You literally identify many of the key lines from Japan and bring them here to the US market.
Yes, thank you so much. So we do bring in the top-tier suppliers from Japan for SMT and ATE solutions. And alongside with our quality control products such as the McDry cabinets and the stencil cleaning line, we thought it would be a very natural fit. We had the great opportunity to merge and acquire the Malcom Tech line of Unitech PCB cleaners and the Malcom viscometers, profilers, and paste mixers. And it's just a natural fit with our line of products, so we're very happy to be able to represent them and introduce the process control devices to the US and North American market.
So this process control line that you've got here really starts with the PCB cleaner behind us here. Which is from Unitech. So that's typically where you put a bare board through and clean it?
That's absolutely right. So it removes the dust and particulates and tabs before the paste printing process to ensure that it's going to be a very precise and controlled and clean process before it goes into the printer. Mm-hmm.
Fine. Okay, so then we're going to move on up to the Malcom line, which you mentioned, but I'm going to talk to Charlie because he's going to give us some of the...
He is the product specialist, so I would like him to take over from this point.
Great.
Thank
okay.
you.
So Charlie, here we are with, of course, the full range of the Malcom products behind us. It is essentially, at its heart, a profiling system, but it has a lot of other bells and whistles that go along with it. So tell us a bit about the Malcom range.
Yeah, so again, at the heart of it is a temperature profiling unit, which is, it goes through the oven and just takes the profile of the temperature. But what kind of sets Malcom apart from, the competitors and other manufacturers is that we're able to use this as a base unit for a modular system where we can profile different aspects of the oven. Right. So for instance, we have the O2 density profiler, which is this guy. And we're able to take, at the same time as the temperature, we're able to take the O2 density. So for anyone running a nitrogen oven, we can go in and find out the O2 ppm levels throughout the whole oven at the board level.
Right. So by measuring the O2 ppm levels, you then can subtract and know what the density is of the nitrogen.
Correct. That's right. Yeah.
So then you have, beside that, you have an air velocity profiler. What is that for?
Yeah, so for anyone that is curious about the air velocity of the fan speed within the oven, we're able to go in and use this sensor to measure the airflow. So if you have any issues with the fans in your oven cutting out or maybe blowing too hard, if you have any issues with parts being blown off of your PCBs, this is a good way to go in and troubleshoot that area.
So I mean, as an act of maintenance, how often would you run that through the oven?
I have customers that run it every day, and other than that, it'll mainly be usually when people see some sort of activity within the oven. If their board goes in and then comes out with some kind of funky things happening, like blown components, they'll go in and check that. But other than that, I would say, like a monthly check would suffice for that. Yeah.
Good. So then, beside that, we have a video monitoring system. So what are you watching with the video?
Yeah, so this is kind of a system that's really catching the eye of a lot of people because up until now, we have no idea what's going on inside the oven once you send a PCB in. And so with this camera system, we can send this camera into the oven and be able to actually see what's happening during the reflow process. And because we're also measuring the temperature at the same time, we're able to correlate that data together and figure out at what time and at what temperature, meaning what zone, things are happening. And so you can see things like when the solder is melting or when it's solidifying. If you have any problems with the PCB, like any warpage, you can go ahead and see that as well too.
Right. So is it a low light camera? Because I mean, obviously things are dark inside that oven. How do you light it up?
Correct. The sensor is geared for low light, but in order to be able to see it, we need light source. And so not only do we have an onboard camera, we have onboard LED light sources to be able to go and shine and to create enough illumination within the oven to be able to see that process. Okay, makes sense.
So moving further back here, we've got the small sample viscometer. So tell me about this, because it's had some upgrades recently, and it really is quite an interesting system.
Correct. The Malcom line of viscometers has been an industry standard for over 30 years now, and all the paste manufacturers are using it to measure their viscosity. And so kind of recently what Malcom has done to upgrade the unit is to create this system, which is called the PCU-02V, and it's geared for small sample testing. And so in the past we had to use the whole jar to be able to go in and test the viscosity of the paste, but with this system, we're only looking at a sample size of 0.2 cc's.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's tiny. But so you're going to use this if you've got paste that's been in storage, for example, to check that the viscosity is the same and that the paste is not going off.
Correct. I mean, the most well-used method of this is to make sure that your paste is ready for production. And so you want to make sure that the paste is ready by being at the optimal viscosity. And so whether your paste was in the refrigerator for a long time or ready and waiting for production, you can test it right before, and the test will only take 5 to 10 minutes. And so you can verify that the paste is ready for production that way.
So using a smaller amount, obviously you can make the test a lot faster, because it used to be an hour or 2 hours you'd have to wait.
Correct. Our standard viscosity meters, they usually take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to stabilize the temperature and to actually take a measurement. But with this, because we're using such a small sample, we're able to stabilize that temperature a lot quicker and just take a quick measurement.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Charlie. It's great to see some of the new products coming in here at Seika. So thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks.